Hey, what's up? My name is Veer Das. You might know me from this. I'm on Conversations with Chai, and we had a good conversation, man. So please do watch this thing. There we go.
Thank you. Welcome to Conversations with Chai. I'm your host, Ram Chaudhary, aka Little Baby Ram Ram, and today I have with me Emmy-winning, one of the funniest comedians whose special Full Volume is out right now. I have with me the incomparable Veer Das.
Also known as Big Baby Ashok. Is my no.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, bro. I feel like I have a responsibility to start at a very specific place.
Okay.
The current political climate of the country that I'm in, the United States, and how the persecution of freedom of speech is going here. I figured I should ask somebody with experience. First, let me start with, do you feel like you're somebody who has been persecuted by your government for your comedy?
No, I don't feel persecuted at all. I feel there have been roadblocks in my career, no more or less than people in other art forms that is reflective of the youth of my democracy, but I don't feel persecuted at all. I refuse to feel that way. I mean, with your, I think with what you said about America as well in terms of your freedom of speech, and you feel like, I don't know, I feel like America's kind of going through a tantrum right now. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
I don't know if it's a phase, but you know how a child when they're in Toys R Us doesn't get what they want and they hold their breath and stomp their feet? I feel like you're holding your breath and you're stomping your feet. But I think the difference between us is in India, should anybody ever take offense to a joke, it's the people with power have so much on their plate. It's not that guy. It's a guy who's like 6 degrees of separation away. You know how it's in a company, there's an intern who's a nice guy and a chairman who's a nice guy. But like the VP of sales is always an asshole. So in India, you're dealing with the VP of sales. In America, sometimes when people take offense, the chairman takes offense. And I feel like that's the difference in the power structures of offense between the two countries.
That's interesting though, because you are describing it as roadblocks to your career, right? But you have faced real roadblocks that have, let me ask you, have they influenced your own self-censorship?
No, I don't self-censor. I think I'm humble enough to let the audience censor me in terms of, I read a really good quote once that said, take the feedback, don't take the note. Which is, if an audience member is going, here's how you made me feel, that's very valid. And this could have been better, that's very valid. I was offended, that's very valid. This was amazing, that's very valid. Here's what you should do about it creatively. I'm not taking that note. Do you know what I mean? So I can accept feedback, humbly, head down, and myself as an artist figure out how to address it. So I don't think that's self-censorship, but I think an artist who kind of goes up on any kind of stage and is like, I'm gonna do me, and you can deal with it. I don't think they retain an audience for a very long period of time. It's got to be a relationship between them and an audience.
No, absolutely. So as I'm doing my research of you, there are a couple of jokes.
All right, cool.
That have stood out to me, and I'm sure they've stood out to you.
Sure.
But I definitely want to ask you about those
because
jokes.
comedians love talking about their past jokes. There's nothing we love more than doing that.
The joke about you live in 2 states.
I live in
2 countries. One that worships women by day, and the other one that gay rapes women by night. How do you feel about that joke today?
It's still on YouTube. I think it's been discussed enough. You know what I mean? There's a special about it called Veer Das Landing, and it's a video that is about the duality in my nation and reminding people that there's light in the nation and kind of heading towards that in equal measure, by the way, darkness and light. So I feel like it's still out there. I feel like about it like I feel about any piece of work I put out.
When you approach a joke in comedy, any joke, because I stalk you on Twitter, and I see a lot of reflection of the world, and then I see that obviously trickle into the comedy.
I guess. I live in the world. I tour the world more than most people get to. I'm also, old enough where I consume news obsessively, and I'm not privileged enough to not care about the world. You know what I mean? Where I can kind of sit and be like, when I see people who are like, I don't watch the news, it's too much for me. To me, that comes from a place of privilege, of extreme privilege. I don't live in that kind of a setting where you don't have to watch the news. I think the average Mumbaiker or the average Delhi person watches the news. They consume what's happening around them because they have to,
Do you feel that, because I've heard it from comedians on two different sides of it, do you feel your role as a very famous, very eloquent person outside of comedian, do you feel a responsibility on the world in your work?
No, not at all. I don't feel like I have a responsibility. I'm trying to make you laugh, and I'm trying to give you a snapshot of what I see. How you take that, should that lead to some thought? That's your journey with what I've said. Having said that, I do think I can't just make you laugh without a thought, because I do have a thought. So there will be a thought to something that I do. I think, Jesselnik maybe had a really good quote where he's like, comedy's getting away with it. So you can slip a thought in there and you can say what you have to say, but you get away with it with jokes. And so the attempt is that, and you succeed sometimes and you don't succeed sometimes. But yeah, I don't think I have a responsibility at all. A journalist has a responsibility, not a comedian.
It's interesting because I do think that although not journalistic in the traditional sense, I do think comedians document a time and a moment in history. I think about certain jokes that I remember when like Chappelle came out on SNL after the first Trump election, and how, I guess, important it was to the culture of the time.
Well, I think it would be important to you, but I think if you were to sit down with Chappelle, I'd submit you that it's not important to him. I don't think Chappelle is walking out on that stage thinking, people need to hear from me, man. He's not thinking that. He's thinking, man, Lorne called me and how do I make this monologue tight? And how do I get a laugh every 17 seconds? That's what a comic's thinking about. In this new Netflix special, there's a bit where, we turn the lights off. So it's shot in 3 different countries. So there's 12,000 people in Mumbai, there's 2,000 people in London, there's 180 people in the basement in the cellar, right? We turn the lights off for like 5 minutes in this thing. It's a long time to be in the dark, in the middle of a performance, right? And it's a trippy experiment in that I get to say some shit in the darkness. But while what I'm saying is uncomfortable, really what I'm thinking is, I need to have a laugh around the corner. Do you know what I mean? It's dark. I hope I'm not losing them. So here's this uncomfortable sentence, and then immediately something silly has to follow. Or you have to bait and switch where you make them uncomfortable and it's not what they think it is, and it's something else. So I think comedians are mostly thinking about that, the importance of the word, not really like self-importance at all.
No, that's amazing. So you brought up your new special, shot in 3 different countries, Mumbai, London, the US.
Yeah.
You shot it with a full Indian production team.
Yeah.
A full Indian production team.
Yeah.
Tell me, I know we talked a little bit off mic, right? Why was that so important to you?
I think, look, I have a production house called Zazu Productions, and they produce the special, right? So Akash and Kavi are my creative people. Kavi creative produced, Akash produced it, but I think it's nice if you're going to be a global Indian comedian and say, hey, listen, I deserve to stand in an iconic New York venue, or I deserve to stand in an iconic London church. Keep in mind, the Comedy Cellar is around the corner for you. It's across the world for me, man. So if I'm going across the world, I'm taking some people with me. I'm taking my people with me. Like if I'm going to say we're going to do a global special that comes out of India, from India for the world, then I think everything has to come from India in that. Technically, it's nice to have a DP who knows how to light a brown face and knows how to shoot a brown face. It's also nice to bring a Hindi movie DP or a Bollywood DP to an American comedy special, because suddenly it's a little more filmic. Sometimes a lot of guys who do specials in America just do specials, right? But they've not done a lot of film work. So they haven't done music, or maybe they've done music videos and ads, but they've not shot fiction. So Siddharth Vasani, who's my DP, has shot like 10 movies. Jay Oza, who shot Landing, shot Gully Boy, man. So there's a cinematic quality to the special. And then it's not we're not supporting local people. We got local crews wherever we went. Like Sarthak is my boy in New York. He shoots all the comedian podcasts and all the Desi content. Sarthak is on the crew. In London, we found an Indian crew that does weddings. And we loved their work. We found them on Instagram and we're like, yeah, you come on, come get a Netflix credit with us. You know?
Isn't that so huge? Like, I just want to like draw a little bit of attention to that. Like, a wedding photography group in London now has a Netflix credit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like that means like I'm assuming you understand like the tangible meaning of that, right?
I do, and I also understand their barriers to entry where they live. Do you know what I mean? New York is heavily unionized. It is breaking into New York crews or New York film crews. You can ask your guys, I'm sure it's pretty hard. And maybe it's a little bit hard given how they look, you know, or given what their background is as well at a second level. So I feel like, yeah, man, we're going to support each other, you know.
But now, like with that Netflix credit, the door just becomes a little bit more...
A little bit more open, I hope, you know. I don't live here, but I hope, you know.
No, for sure, right? Like, I think you even said, like, once you get, like, the Emmy or once you get the Netflix, right?
The Emmy doesn't, that doesn't mean too much. Like, it doesn't open too many doors, I'll be honest. Like, it's a nice thing to have. It's a celebration for people who stuck with you. But like, if I was to walk on stage and put an Emmy on stage, you'd be like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, who does he think he is? So comedy is about relatability. And the Emmy is the first thing I do in the special. I walk out on stage and a special is a reflection of how they last saw you, right? The last memory they had of you in public life. And for me, that's the Emmy. So the first thing I do in this thing is walk out on stage and make fun of it so that it's out of the way and it's from a place of equality.
You intro the special saying that you lost your voice.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
I lost it 6 weeks before I sold out a stadium for 12,000 people. And Netflix had kind of paid me to do a different show. And we were tight, we'd rehearsed it, they'd seen it. And then I spent 6 weeks in silence and I rewrote the show in my head. And it became a show about silence. And then I went up at the stadium with one night of rehearsal and did the special. And we were all like, okay, this is a different kind of energy, but it's at least much more authentic as an artist experience.
So the day before the special was being recorded, you were able to, for the first time, deliver the special.
Not really. The day before the special, I was able to do 45 minutes. I'd recovered to the point of 45 minutes. And then the day of the special, I did 3 hours. But 5 days before the special, I had no voice.
Wow.
So I was just, you know, I'd been told by various doctors, they were like, just shut up for 5 weeks. And then in the 6th week, we'll start to work your way back. We'll shoot you up, we'll do whatever the hell you need to work your way back. And your muscles atrophy in your own way. So suddenly a sentence that should take you just a little bit of breath is taking you like 20 times the breath that it would normally take you. So it's like learning to walk again in your throat a little bit, you know, because the muscles are out of work. And on the day of the stadium, that was just, like, you know, they say mata aa gayi. That was just the energy of 12,000 people. It carried me, you know. But I didn't have the physical strength to do it.
How did that energy feel as soon as you walked in?
It's great. I did 2 shows. It was amazing. And I walked off stage and just went, I was out. It was just done. I had no physical energy left. The second I was done, the audience carried me.
How does it feel though after to the complete? I know you're physically exhausted, right? But just like the rush of like, does that energy die off? Does that ever get old for you?
You're awake for like 2 days, but no, you know, the thing is, to me, my favorite part of the show is not like applause or laughter or anything like that. My favorite part of the show is the lights go off, show's about to start, and there's like, there's a cheer, but then that dies down, and then everybody's like, all right. Right? You ever hear 12,000 people do that, move their feet, put their phone away? You hear 12,000 people shuffle, it'll scare the shit out of you. You know what I mean? It's a very scary sound.
To this day?
To this day. So
you played so many...
No, at that moment you're reminded, okay, these people Ubered, they had choices, they got babysitters, they walked. You know, when we did the show in Mumbai, we shut down the sea link because there was so much traffic. It's called the Bandra Worli Sea Link. It's a bridge that's near the stadium. So people got off at the end of the bridge and like walked 2 kilometers because they didn't want to miss start time. So when you hear 12,000 people shuffling, you're like, oh, they're on the pedestal. It's my job to send them home flying on a cloud. Like this is their experience. It's not my experience tonight. At least that's how I see it. You know.
No, absolutely. It's like a tribute to the audience that...
That's what this special is. This special is very much a tribute to the audience. It's, you can see every face. The first rule of comedy is don't light the audience. They laugh louder if they're in darkness. You see every face. You watch the Mumbai show, there's 12,000 faces. Same in London, same in the cellar. The cellar's never been that brightly lit ever. We went up at the cellar and we put red tube lights on the ceiling.
I was going to say, I don't even think the cellar has additional lighting.
And so we brought in like red tube lights on the ceiling and everybody at the cellar was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm about to Bollywood the cellar. Don't worry. It's going to look amazing, I promise you. And it really does. It looks amazing.
It's amazing. I think we were wrapping up, but I do have a small little fun segment.
All right, cool.
Veer Das versus the internet.
All right, cool. Here we go.
All right. So, 5 comedians walk into a comedy club. Modi and Trump are in the audience. I want you to rank them from least likely to get canceled to most likely to get canceled.
Okay.
Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Ricky Gervais, Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice O'Neill. Rogan, Schultz, and Ricky Gervais are straight white men, so they're going to be just fine. All right. So I'd give it a Patrice most likely and Chappelle second most likely.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do one more. Hassan Minhaj, Dave Chappelle, Veer Das, Munawar Farooqui, Bill Maher.
Who's most likely to get cancelled?
Least to most.
Well, I think when you're talking about, well, you can't put me and Munawar in the same kind of context as Hassan and who else was in this? Bill Maher.
Dave Chappelle, Bill Maher.
Yeah, but our definition of being cancelled is very, very different.
Okay.
You know, in America, cancelling is a mob on Twitter saying mean things about you and mean articles. In India, it means a little bit more. You know what I mean? The definition of a mob is a little bit more. And if you, I mean, I got to show some respect to what Munawar's been through. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's not a cancellation. You know what I mean? It's a heavy experience. So I don't think you can contextually put us in the same thing.
That's real persecution.
It's a different. I don't think, you know, people. It's very fancy to say, where is India's Dave Chappelle? Come to India. India is not for beginners. Dave Chappelle would have an interesting time in India. You know what I mean? So I don't think we're in the same context at all.
I love that you always say that come to India, because I have, especially in New York, I'm in a very diaspora-heavy community. Yeah. And I think that if you could say something to that diaspora community, is that what you would say?
I would say come and see modern India. You know, sometimes, and I'm thinking it's possibly less true for every further generation, but sometimes the diaspora gets raised in like this time capsule version of India that your parents left behind, because they lose connect with India, right? But if you were to come to Mumbai, you would find many people who look, sound and live like you. You know, that hook up, do drugs, are flawed, make interesting choices, are not a model minority, etc. Sometimes I feel like we got more freedom than you guys back home, that you grow up in more conservative setups, because here your opportunities are scarce and you're kind of trained to be a model minority, and I respect that. But come home and kind of chill out a little bit. You know, like you used to do in summer holidays, your parents would bring you back home. Yeah. Come do it as adults and like see modern, audacious, vibing India. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Last time you cried?
Last time I cried, I think I got a DM from an audience member that was about them going through a tough time and how the show didn't end the tough time, but it caught up with them like a year later and kind of gave them some context to do something. So it was nice. It was a sweet message from a lady. Yeah.
You shot the special in 3 different cities. Mm-hmm. Which was your favorite to shoot in? I feel like I know the answer to this.
It's Mumbai, man. Like it's home. You know what I mean? Like there's no contest, right? New York is a close second.
New York is a close second. Yeah, it's close. Smallest venue.
The cellar, man. I mean, smallest in size, biggest in prestige. You know.
Do you feel that way?
For sure. Yeah.
Especially after all the rooms we've played in. Like,
For sure. Yeah. Do you go to the cellar ever?
Yeah.
Right? It's assassins. It's you know, assassin after assassin after assassin after assassin. You may not know their names, but these are 20-year seasoned comedians recommended only by comedians. So if you want to play a stadium, that's great. And if you want to have the night of your life, that's great. But if you want to know if you're good, you go to the cellar, man. You know?
the crowd there is also just used to all the assassins.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're
so
a little off bar,
so
they'll let you know.
If I kill at the cellar, I feel better about killing at the stadium.
If you had one last Netflix set, if you had one last set,
This might be my last.
one last comedy set,
Yeah.
what do you think that you would try to cover in that set?
I don't know. I have no clue. I know that I'm writing 2 shows right now that will go on tour soon, and they will never wind up online. They will be a live-only immersive experience. A special is a piece of filmmaking. I think more and more we're realizing that because of how much comedy is available on Instagram now. The demarcation between that and a special couldn't be more clear. So a special is really filmmaking. You got to tell a story. You got to make choices. You got to. That's why I like directing them as well. So I'd really have to have something strong to say before I did another special, and I don't yet. I'm gonna go and live life a little bit, and we'll see what happens.
Dear, appreciate you
Thank
for
you,
doing
man.
this.
I appreciate it.
Full volume out now
On Netflix.
on Netflix.